Lib Dem spokesman Luke Taylor.
Thank you very much, Mr Stringer. It's a pleasure to serve under your chairship. I thank the Honourable Member for North Somerset for bringing this debate and continuing the conversation we've been having over the last couple of weeks about the future of aviation, something I am always a pleasure to talk about. Nothing is inevitable about pollution in our skies. Aviation does not have to be the easy poster child for conspicuous consumption of resources and casual carbon emissions. It does not have to be part of the problem we face with the warming planet, melting ice caps and increasing extreme weather. With the right choices, it can be part of the solution. Britain is already feeling the mounting toll of climate change, flash floods, record heat waves and freak storms. And this is not abstract. It's already costing lives and livelihoods across the country. And aviation, Mr Speaker, contributes to that problem, Mr Chairman, contributes to that problem, and we cannot pretend that it does not. In 2022 alone, UK domestic and international flights produced nearly 30 million tonnes of carbon dioxide, equivalent to 7% of the nation's entire greenhouse gas emissions. If nothing changes, the Climate Change Committee projects that aviation will account for 16% of UK emissions by 2035. We cannot meet our net zero goals without tackling this issue. This debate is particularly well timed following the introduction of the SAF bill last week, which addresses the climate emissions of existing technology fuels. Now, there is good news beyond that, however. Aviation can in fact be part of the solution to our fight against climate change, because thanks to scientific progress and industry innovation, we now have the technology to fly without fossil fuels. Green hydrogen, produced using renewable energy, is a clean fuel that emits no carbon when it is used. It is one of the most promising solutions for decarbonising aviation, whether by powering aircraft directly or by creating sustainable aviation fuels. This is not a pipe dream, it is already happening. Hydrogen aircraft are being trialled, green fuel production scaling up, and aircraft around the world are beginning to prepare for a hydrogen-powered future. However, the UK risks being left behind unless we match ambition with investment. ATI estimates that the UK aerospace's economic contribution could increase from £8.4 billion today to over £37 billion by 2050, driven by new low and zero emission technologies like hydrogen-powered aircraft. Britain's aerospace sector is ready, but it lacks confidence that essential infrastructure, like the hydrogen production that these aircraft will require, exists. ADS, who are the UK Trade Association for Aerospace, Defence, Security and Space, estimate that global aviation could require more than 100 million tonnes of hydrogen by 2050, 3 million tonnes of which would be used in the UK. It is essential that we scale up the production of green hydrogen to meet this challenge and enable the shift in the industry to take place. Investment is required in the production, but not to mention massive investment in refuelling systems, supply chains and the planning approvals that would be required to approve projects that are necessary for that development. The ATI strategic programme has supported several key projects in this measure, shift to develop hydrogen electric propulsion systems, including Zero Avia's High Flyer and AFCAD projects, GKN's H2 Gear and H2 Flight, lots of confusing acronyms and project names, but also Project Fresson, led by Cranfield Aerospace Solutions. Some of those, including Zero Avia's projects, have resulted in or will soon result in certification applications with the CAA that will complete in the coming few years, the earliest by 2026. Zero Avia, which are based in my honourable friend, the member for South Cotswolds constituency, are backed by many huge investors, including Airbus, British Airways, the Amazon Climate Pledge, and already attracting orders from airlines like Alaskan Airlines and United Airlines. But also, critically, getting investment from the UK Infrastructure Bank and the Scottish National Investment Bank as well, which shows the immediate viability and attractiveness of investing in this technology. Having raised over $250 and grown a team of more than 200 employees across Gloucestershire and London, ZeroAvia are already making a significant contribution to the aviation industry. They're currently targeting certifying a hydrogen electric powertrain for up to 20 seaplanes with the CAA, with a target entry in service next year. The step after that will be developing an engine for larger 40 to 80 seat aircraft by 2028. Now, this certification will require investment in the CAA to provide the skills and expertise to evaluate and then to certify these aircraft as safe. The advantage of the approach of ZeroAvia is the ability of airlines to retrofit these engines into existing fleets. And this isn't a tale of a potential technology of the future. ZeroAvia has already performed several world-first breakthrough flight demonstrations of its powertrain technology from its base at Cotswold Airport. ZeroAvia is an incredibly exciting new entry to the sector, but existing aviation giant Airbus also sees the opportunity of hydrogen. Their plans are bigger and depend on more infrastructure, and as a result, Airbus recently announced their ZeroE hydrogen-powered aircraft programme would be delayed by a decade because of concerns over the issue we're talking about today, which is the availability of infrastructure to support hydrogen flight. The ZeroE aircraft features an electric propeller propulsion system powered by hydrogen fuel cells, similar to the approach taken by ZeroAvia, which uses the hydrogen to generate electricity on board through a chemical reaction. The only byproduct of this reaction is water, and when combined with green hydrogen production, makes the process carbon neutral. The ZeroE approach with propeller propulsion is the likely first-generation hydrogen power plant type, replacing domestic and regional aircraft, as ZeroAvia are already developing, for shorter flights. This contrasts with the approach that Rolls-Royce are taking with their project to modify existing technology engines to run on gaseous hydrogen, instead of requiring a conversion to electrical energy to power an onboard electric motor. Rolls showed the huge potential of this work back in 2022 when they successfully ran a modified AE 2100A engine, which is a variant of the turboprop power plant which equips the Saab 2000 regional airliner, a long-established and widely used regional turboprop. The next stage of this work is to modify a Pearl 15 business jet engine, which is a twin-shaft turbofan which currently powers the Bombardier Global Express. And that shows this approach is potentially applicable to turbofans as well as turboprops. This direct combustion of hydrogen in a modified existing technology engine shows an alternative route to harnessing hydrogen to decarbonise the aviation industry. These projects show the huge potential of this fuel to take aviation into the modern era of low and zero emission operations. Three sectors, three approaches: eSAF, fuel cell to electrical production on the aircraft, or direct hydrogen propulsion. All of these are really viable technologies and viable approaches that the market and that industry and that research will understand and develop to the appropriate sectors and appropriate markets. But for now, again, all of these projects are being held back by infrastructure availability, and I'm calling on the Minister today to fix that. So I welcome his government's July announcement to commit over £100 million for the development of hydrogen and electric aircraft through the Aerospace Technology Institute, and nearly £1 billion over 5 years to support innovation in the aerospace sector. There's no denying that these are serious, positive moves, but they must only be the start. Because if we get sustainable aviation fuel right, the benefits for cities like London will be enormous. Clean flights mean cleaner air, fewer respiratory illnesses, fewer days lost to sickness, and longer, healthier lives. It also means economic leadership. It means new green engineering jobs, revitalised manufacturing, and a chance for Britain to lead in the global hydrogen economy. It's also worth making clear that of all transport sectors, on a first principle basis, aviation is the most applicable for hydrogen. And in fact, it will be essential if aviation is to make its net zero targets. Aviation is the most energy-intensive transport mode and the most sensitive to mass, as the Breguet range equations I explained to all members last week show. And that shows why hydrogen is absolutely the most suitable fuel source, or aviation is the most suitable user of hydrogen fuel into the future. Aviation has the least competition from other zero-emission pathways due to their various shortcomings, and the sector's energy demand is plannable and high, therefore creating significant offtake that can take H2 down the cost curve. Again, it's worth adding that the professionalised and regulated environment of aviation is very well suited to handling the new fuel and establishing standards and safety. Hydrogen's success in aviation will be a major proof point against many existing investor concerns for other sectors. So, today I'm urging the Minister to, first of all, provide longer-term clarity to industry on the availability of hydrogen. The Government must signal its intentions on renewable energy and hydrogen production targets beyond 2040, to bring forward the hydrogen business models in hydrogen transport, storage and power. And the Government should also extend Aerospace Technology Institute ATI funding to a 10-year horizon. So, Chair, unlike others that we hear from in this debate, this is absolutely not a call to ground flights to isolate Britain. It is a call to fly smarter and to fly cleaner, to back British science and British leadership to build a better and more sustainable future. Aviation connects us to people, places and possibilities. It can drive innovation, it boosts economies and it brings the world closer together. And with the right action, it can keep doing all of this without costing us our planet. Thank you.
Consider